Hello, children. So, today we are going to talk about the lesson the living organisms, characteristics, and habitats. So, when we talk about organisms, this term gives us a thought of the huge variety of living beings or things around us. These living things could be big organisms like tiger, elephants, giraffes, or tiny organisms such as microbes, worms, insects, etc. Living organisms exist in variety of sizes, variety of forms, and in variety of places as well. Some of them might live in forests, some might live in water, some of them might be aerial, that is, they are spending most of their time in air, like birds. So, when we talk about living organisms, we can find a lot of them in our own vicinity, that is, in our own surroundings. Like in our garden, we can find ladybirds, ants, earthworms, etc. In our houses itself, we can find mosquitoes, spiders, lizards, and even domestic or pet animals may also be there. So now, when we go or think about a forest, then we may find different organisms like elephants, giraffes, deer, monkeys, and even a huge variety of birds can be found. When we go to a desert, let's say, we know that there are no or very less vegetation or trees. So, as the region is dry and sandy, so it does not support the growth of plant and trees. Some plants like cactus, date palms can grow here as they require less amount of water. Also, the animals which require less amount of water for their survival live here, like camels. And now, when we think about the polar regions, North Pole or South Pole, let's say, and we know that polar regions are very cold. It is so cold out there that all types of organisms cannot survive in such cold conditions. Some organisms which can store a large amount of fats in their bodies have long, thick fur on their bodies, like polar bear. So they can survive in these kind of cold conditions. And also, when we look at the sea, here also we have a large variety of organisms like hydra, fish, octopus, seahorses, and so many more organisms. Also, we can find different variety of flora, that is plants in this environment. But it is also important to know that plants or animals which may survive in seawater may not survive in fresh water like rivers or ponds or lakes, and vice versa, of course. From this, we can conclude that no matter wherever we go and no matter how harsh the conditions are at that particular place, we can find a certain set of organisms in all the different conditions. Now, we saw that some animals live in one type of region and some other might live in different region with different climatic conditions, etc. So, this is actually home for organisms, and this home is known as habitat. So, habitat is a natural environment where an organism lives, or in other words, we can say the natural living place of an organism is its habitat. An organism depends on its habitat for food, water, air, shelter, and several kinds of organisms are found in a particular habitat. Now, an interesting question that might arise in your mind is how these different organisms manage to live in different kinds of habitats. For example, whales live in salty water, and you might think that how it can manage to live in salty water all the time. Similarly, how a camel can survive in condition where we cannot find water easily. So now this brings us to the concept of adaptation. So, the features and habits of organisms to better suit to an environment is known as adaptation. Or we can say the presence of special features in or certain habits which enable a plant or an animal to survive in its surroundings is called its adaptation. Okay, so now when we talk about habitat, so there could be different types of habitats. So, first of all, let's talk about terrestrial habitat. If the habitat is land, it is called terrestrial habitat. Example desert, forest, grassland, mountains, etc. So, first of all, let's talk about desert. And we all know that different variety of plants and animals they live in desert also, and the plants which can survive in these conditions are some of them like cactus, agave, date palm. So, what are the features which help them to adapt to these desert conditions? So, first of all, they have leaves which are absent or reduced or modified into spines, as in case of cactus, to reduce water loss by transpiration. Then they have green stems and they do the photosynthesis. Okay, and means not the leaves are doing the photosynthesis, the stem is instead doing the photosynthesis. Then stem stores water, so it is thick and fleshy. And deep root system, they have to collect maximum water from deep soil. Then they have thick waxy layer on stem which prevents water loss. So in the same way, animals also, they have some adaptation features which allow them to survive in these conditions. For example, camel. So camel has long legs to keep the body away from hot sand. It stores food as fat in its hump. It can store water in its body. Hooves of a camel, they are well suited for walking on sand. Then it has long eyelashes to prevent sand from falling into the eyes. And then some animals of these desert conditions, they remain in burrows also during the day and come out during the night. Now, the second type of terrestrial habitat which we will talk about is mountain regions. Now, mountain trees, they grow in conical pattern with sloping branches, which helps the snow to slide down. And they have needle shaped leaves, which helps water and snow to slide down. Then animals also, they survive in mountain region, like a snow leopard is white in color, can hide in the environment, that is known as camouflage. Then it has thick fur to protect from cold. It has claws to prevent slipping on the surface of snow. Also, we can see in the case of mountain goat, it has thick white fur. It has a strong hooves for running up the rocky slopes. In case of yak also, it has long thick fur of yak which is protecting it from severe cold in the winter. Now, polar bear is also one of the animals which live in such cold climatic conditions of the mountains. So, let us see how a polar bear adjusts to the cold climatic conditions. So, first of all, it has thick fur which protects it against the cold. Then it is white in color, so it gives a camouflage. That is, it mixes with the background, that is snow, and does help in catching prey, and as well as it hides from its predators with the use of this camouflage. Now it has fat layer under its skin, that is providing insulation. That is, body heat is not allowed to go out of the body, so it helps in maintaining body temperature against the cold climatic conditions. Then again, it has wide and large paws. So sometimes during the summer season, when they feel hot, they would like to swim. For this, they have wide and large paws, which help them. Now they have small ears. Small ears will have small openings, so it helps in stopping the body heat from going outside. That is, prevent body heat loss. Then, lastly, it has sharp teeth. As they are carnivores, they feed on flesh, so they need sharp teeth to tear the flesh. So, in this way, we saw that what are the different kinds of adaptations in different types of um, animals living in different habitats. So, again, now we will talk about grasslands and the animals and the plants which are surviving in those kind of conditions and what kind of adaptation features they have. So, we will continue it in our next video.